Facing challenges and overcoming setbacks is part of doing business. Whether you have the expertise to survive them or not could mean the difference between success or failure. Welcome to We Are Women, featuring revealing conversations that provide invaluable insights into the success secrets of female masterminds. A must listen for every entrepreneurial woman. Now here's your host, Jeannie Vosper.
Hi, Jeannie Vosper here, and welcome to this episode of the We Are Women podcast. I have the super fabulous Jeannie Savage with me today. We're going to be talking, Jeannie does bookkeeping stuff, but it's not going to be about bookkeeping. It's about raising women up and helping them become the best, most successful version of themselves. A little bit about Jeannie. So Jeannie Savage is the Strategic Bookkeeper, and she's had a bookkeeping practice for over 15 years. She is the author of The Strategic Bookkeeper and the Bookkeeping Practice Blueprint. And she is host of the Strategic Bookkeeper podcast, which I have been very blessed to have been a guest on there and shared some information. She is a multi-award winning entrepreneur, most notably named Australia's Woman Finance Innovator of the Year 2024. I did not know that, Jeannie. I'm going to get you to have a chance to have a little brag on that. Jeannie is a global leader in the bookkeeping space, working with practitioners across the US, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, and the UK. She is not only an in-demand speaker, she is a disruptor, educator, and mentor, shaping the future of bookkeeping profession. Thank you so much for being on. I'm super excited that we get to reverse the table and I get to find out more about you and how you assist the women that you work with in everyday life. But first of all, okay, Australia's Woman Finance Innovator of the Year for 2024. What does that mean? And tell me about it.
Yeah, so do you know, I can remember where I was when I found out I won that award. So it's kind of funny. It's always good to picture those things, right? So I was in Newcastle for a friend's wedding, and so I couldn't attend the awards ceremony, and I was just in my hotel room laying on my bed, and it wasn't announced yet, and I was so wanted this award that I went online and I just tried to find it, and I found the major sponsor and they had a snippet, and I saw the three names, and then mine had the little cup, and it was me. I won. Because prior to that, I'd won quite a few awards, and it was amazing. The reason that this one was so meaningful, so it's Women in Finance Australia Innovator of the Year, and it was meaningful because the Strategic Bookkeeper is my life's work. It's my dharma. It's the place that I have got to achieve a dream of inspiring women to actually put themselves first, physically, mentally, spiritually, to create choice in their life, and choice usually comes first and foremost through financial independence, like it or not, the choice to stay in your marriage or leave your marriage, the choice to take a bit of time to get yourself well. Yeah. And so that award recognizes my work globally at the Strategic Bookkeeper and the impact of my work as an innovator. So that's why it was so important, and I'm immensely proud of it.
Congratulations. Well done. And it is, and that's a great subject that we want to be able to touch on also, is that choice. Isn't that a fantastic word? And it's been something for me through my 40 plus years of working career, and having a choice in what I was planning ahead and what I wanted to do, and then being able to choose the life I wanted to create. So now at my age, which is sort of where a lot of people would be heading to retirement, I'm just again building a life business, that you've got the choice to do it. I love it.
Yeah, and the inversion of that, right, which is a way when I read Atomic Habits, I love that James talks about a thing like a positive and the inversion of that, and the inversion of choice, right? And I know, Janine, you will have met women every day of the week, that don't have choice. And it's like, it's a little word, but the impact. So I meet women who say, I can't leave my abusive marriage because I don't have an income for myself. Um, Women who drop dead because they don't. It really is. And I feel like I'm working on choice every day of the week with my clients, and I hear from them. So I got a message the other day, beautiful. I got up in the morning. I was actually hoping I had messages from two of my girls that start with K. And I sit on the sofa and I listen, and she said, Jeannie, thank you so much. And she said, you have improved my family, right? And again, it was back to money. So she's one of our what we call booked but broken bookkeepers. So busy, busy, busy. Busy doesn't mean successful. Busy means something's wrong, right? And so she's got the turnover, the clients, but the profitability is really low, and she's working 70 hours a week. And not only is she at breaking point, but her family is not getting time, and her kids, even though they're actually late teens, young adults, they're saying, Mom, we want 5 minutes with you. We want our mom, and the husband is the same. So, in that case, the choice to spend time with your kids, the choice to actually be well, not be messaging me at 3 a.m. But then other people who've told me, it was the choice to, again, leave a marriage that for whatever reason wasn't working out. So to me, I work with choice every day of the week. And for me, that choice was to leave a marriage, beautiful man, but I have a special needs child. It was hard. Then it was the choice to put my physical, mental, and spiritual well-being first. And I don't think I'd be here today if I couldn't have done that. And that came through making money and then making time.
Yes. And even touching on that choices, a lot of people don't recognize they have a choice. That one thing's thinking, I can't choose this because that I don't have the finances, I don't have the help, I don't have the time, I don't have the support. But also what I see with people is they don't actually recognize there's an option. They don't know that life produces opportunity to have choices. They just do what they do because they feel that that's just what they have to do. And that's part of what I see too, Jeannie, is people, and it's very stuck. And it's actually probably not as dangerous to someone's health being you don't know you have a choice, as opposed to someone who wants to choose something differently and doesn't know how to go about it.
That's fascinating. I never thought of it that way. I love hearing that. Yeah.
Yeah, it becomes a blockage. So a little bit, you just mentioned about yourself moving out of a relationship and with your child. What you do just doesn't come out of thin air. It's got to come from something that is within yourself. And as you're aware, part of what all the things I've been doing over the years are now really targeting on me pulling stories from people, because that's exactly what I've been doing with this podcast for 10 years, is what the story behind the why you do what you do. And it won't even, and I'm going to challenge you here, it won't even be what you were doing 10 years ago or 15 years ago. It might have been what was in your childhood that has led you to this as well.
Yes, I love that. Yeah, actually, it's so true, because when I was young, I feel like I did something that I did when I was dreaming and getting ready to launch this Dharma project, this purpose-led project. And it is, when I was young, I was a quirky, awkward kid. And I didn't fit in, and I'm hearing impaired. I had an afro. Like, my joke was that God looked at me and went, "Don't give her hearing. Like, that is cruel. Take it away." and I'm pretty
And for
sure
those that are
hearing.
listening and can't see this, Jeannie is absolutely gorgeous. So, so you grew into your body, I'm thinking.
I did. I feel like I grew into, I feel like a beautiful woman these days, and I definitely grew into it. Well, I had to hang out with the boys because I look like a boy, so I thought, if you can't beat them, join them. And so I was really chubby with an afro, and my mum would put me in homemade ponchos, like it was just layers upon layers, right? My mum was a tomboy too, so she just cut my hair short. Everything was practical. put you in the sewn up curtains or like the Von Trapps or the homemade. Ponchos make my eye twitch to this day, right? So I didn't fit in, and I'm quite neurospicy, so neurodiverse. So I had a bit of a view of that. I tend to be a real observer of humans. I'm hard to offend, but I didn't fit in, and I think there was a point in my younger life where I feel like I looked in the mirror, and I started looking through the mirror, and I felt like I could see women all around the world. And I gained this support for myself by connecting with what felt like all the other women. And one day, that's right, one day I looked in the mirror and I said, "You are a goddess." And the way that the reason that was easy to say is because I was saying it to every woman in the world. And this is a personal part of my story that I share every now and then, but rarely. And when you said, childhood, and it felt real, it felt right. And it felt like something that I was going to do in my life. Like I thought, I'm going to connect with women. And I thought, Jeannie, if you can't look at yourself and say you're a goddess, then if you put yourself down, and of course I've done it like all women, like all men, but if you put yourself down, you're putting every woman in the world down. So what would you say to every woman out there? And I would say, you are a goddess. So I looked in the mirror and I looked through the mirror and I said it. And when I was dreaming, so when I went through a really hard time with my marriage, and my son was about 5, my marriage finally ended, and that was the beginning more of healing for me. But I remember looking in the mirror and I could see all the women all around the world that were going through the same thing as me, just hard stuff. Mm-hmm. And I looked into that mirror and, I said, I want to help you the same way I've finally helped myself, which led me to where I am today. Yes, I'm the strategic bookkeeper. I help bookkeepers. But when I talk about what I do, it's got nothing to do with that, right? It's about financial independence, confidence, courage. And they tell me, Jeannie, you gave me courage and honesty are my top values. And what I want to do is I want to help women find the courage to see the truth, and the truth is you're valuable. So that's my deep heart-centered why.
Yeah, I absolutely love it. And as you're saying, you looked in the mirror, I'm visualizing that and thinking, how incredibly powerful is that? And wouldn't that be of value to every person to be able to see through, so it is rewarding yourself by rewarding others with generosity and kindness?
Yeah, generosity and kindness. And I was saying to my partner the other day, it's a concept I try and explain, and I don't always know if I do it properly. We're here to serve others. And even in our business, we're told it's all about turning up and serving others. Well, we're one of those others. Like, we're not. So I see so many, and my partner's Latino, and Latino culture is very, take care of everyone else, but not yourself. Never compliment yourself, never do this. Well, I show up in my life every day celebrating and loving myself equal to the way I celebrate and love everyone else, which is never, that's not the easiest thing, right? No. That's about, it takes work. But I think for everyone to remember that when I step into the strategic bookkeeper and change lives, I'm there to change lives, mine included. You know what I mean? And I think this is, and when my partner and I talked about it, he just mind blown. He said, "Oh my goodness, this removes the language around, oh, well, ultimately we're here to make money, but we are serving others." And I'm like, no, let's remove that altogether. We are here to serve the oneness, right? I'm pretty spiritual. We're here to serve everyone. And I'm one of those people. So if I make millions of dollars along the way, how would I feel, or how do I feel when I help my ladies make lots of money? I feel fantastic. So I feel fantastic when I help myself make lots of money too.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's been something that's been part of a dogma for me as well. And it's something I've said many times, is the more people I help, the more successful I am. And that's just what I do. So I help more people become more successful, help more people become more successful.
Yeah.
And it takes away, there's no money mentioned there, but again, it's what you're saying. It's just what happens in the world. And it is that what I'm sure you find, and I have found, is women in particular, and you mentioned your partner, Latino, that's a bit, that's different. Certain cultures are very much like that
Yes.
as well, that it's there, and usually it's what's been taught through families, or it's their own love language. It's that acts of service. And often it's well to the detriment of themselves. Their time is imposed again on, which means that you can't be doing what you're doing to be that success. It means when they're putting others first, their health is the thing that's most challenged. And it's
Yes.
something that I've always stuck to. You know, if I can be financially independent, if I can be fit and healthy, if I can be mentally well, then when I'm needed to support somebody, I've got all the resources to do it.
Yes, it took me to the edge to figure that out. You know, almost dying. And then it was like, if I die, pretty sure I'm not any help to anyone. So I might try this whole put myself first when I'm right at the edge. And it was beautiful when I finally did that. So my son was about 5. And, you know, in that year or so, I was really leaning into it. So sharing with him along the way. And I said to him one day, who comes first in my life? And he said, you know, who comes first in mama's life? And he said, you do, because if you're dead, you can't take care of me. And I thought, you know, and it's morbid, but sometimes we need that smack in the face to actually, you know. And my sister passed suddenly at about 52. She wasn't taking care of herself either. So, you know, if anyone thinks this stuff is like, no, that wouldn't happen. Unfortunately, if you don't take care of yourself, that is the ultimate price. Yeah.
Yes, and then it's too late.
It is too late. Yeah.
So even, you know, just having this conversation now, if there's someone listening that it just gives a little bit of a kick up the butt to,
Yes.
yeah, I think we've had a success for the day then.
Yeah, because Janine, I was on a podcast. I think it's called the Mummy Midlife Menopause or something like that. And I said to the host about putting yourself first, and because they're all mummies, and she laughed and she said, "You don't mean that though, do you?" And I said, "Yeah." She said, "But our kids come first." And I said, "No, no, yeah, you know, the oxygen mask, all that stuff, you have to come first." And as you said, Janine, because even if it's not that you keel over and die, if you are physically, mentally, spiritually, emotionally spent, how much value are you to your children? So, yeah, and she took that moment to go, okay, I see, yeah, so we should put ourselves first. And I'm like, yeah. And when this was happening to me, it was so funny. So when I wasn't doing that, I had a Medicare card, and I met my then husband, and he had stepchildren, and everyone ended up on the Medicare card, but it was my card, but somehow I ended up last. And the Medicare office and my doctor were laughing at me, and they said, "Can you see what the universe is saying to you, Jeannie? You come last."
I just want to mention I am number 1 on my Medicare card.
Me too now. I'm now number 1. I know it all reversed itself.
Yeah. It is a big challenge for people, and culturally it's become even more so. And I pop on sometimes and for a short period of time watch those shows that how different parenting styles, and it's so indulgent for the children without realizing how the cost to those parents that it's not helping the children become successful adults anyway, that can live in a society where there's certain expectations from them. But it is not a selfish thing to do. You know, I've had opportunities. My oldest son came home at 17 with a big issue, and it needed a few $1,000s to be able to just clear stuff to set himself on the right track again. We had the resources to be able to do that. He paid it all back. He's and he now runs a company with 150 people. You know,
Yeah.
it's if we didn't have the finances, then it would have really been a huge detriment and anguish to him to do that. So we were able to do it. And I know even now at 40, he comes to me, and both his sons come to me as the, Mum, what do you think about this idea? Because they know I've got the capacity to give them honest feedback to what they're thinking of doing or how they're behaving, or, you know, one's got divorced and things like that. It's important that you as the parent have that capacity, because you, as we keep saying, you financially, mentally, emotionally, spiritually as well, which you added. And I keep saying the word successful, because you have success in those fields, not as that you can't master something, but you can feel that you're not challenged by it. You know, it's not
absolutely.
Yes, and with so much mental health issues now, for people to be able to not be burdened with that, it's certainly
your
makes
health
life
is your
easier.
wealth. Yeah, your health is your wealth, isn't it? And that is the physical, the mental, the spiritual, your health. And look at that. The one thing I invest more than anything, the biggest investment I make in my life is in my health. And if I was doing the rocking chair test, you know, I would say your health is your wealth. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. So how were you a bookkeeper? Have you got anything to do with bookkeeping, Jeannie?
Yeah, I have. So I was running a bookkeeping practice for 13 years before I shared my secrets to success in a tell-all book, and now I have my second book. So I was running a bookkeeping practice, and prior to that, I'd also touched kind of pretty like most areas of finance and business operations as well. Yeah, and I still run a bookkeeping practice to this day.
Okay. Are you physically involved with it now, or are you more sort
No,
of
I
an
don't get a lot of time to be. So I still do some lead coaching. So the only thing I really do is the leadership role, so to speak. I've got an amazing right hand that manages everything end to end. And I only take on just a select few entrepreneurs as coaching clients, because all my time and my heart and my soul is over at the Strategic Bookkeeper with the women that I serve.
Yeah. And as I mentioned in the bio intro, so it's from the US, New Zealand, Australia, and UK. Is it just that you haven't branched out more into sort of the third world countries? Because then there's a very different market, isn't it? And
Yeah,
quite a
so
different mindset. I've done a lot of travel in those areas.
yes, so we do reach those markets, but it's generally with our books. So with my books, my podcast. So I've heard from women in Tanzania, in other parts of Africa, lovely men in Pakistan that have reached out and thanked me for my work. From women in the Philippines. So we do hear from developing countries as well. The last couple of years, we've been focused on what I call my high ticket, high touch offer, and it's about 5,000 US for the year. And while that is look, it's super cheap for what we give people and the results they get. For developing countries, it's been a little out of their reach. And as you may know, it's often good just to do the one offer for a couple of years before you branch out. So we do have, like, we have a starter membership. So our starter memberships is only about 60 US for the year, and we get developing countries take that up as well.
Right.
So yeah, we kind of have reach all over. I've sent signed books to Africa, which has been a privilege, and I've had a lot of emotions from the women and men that message me, because and there was a part of me at one point just wanted to lean into the support there, and I thought, you're one person, you need to take it slow, one step at a time. The purpose will continue to evolve. But yeah, look, our paying clients tend to be in those major Western countries. And our focus at the moment is very much in the US, and I'm happy to talk about why that is. But yeah, we are reaching people all over the world in all different languages, and we've had some of my stuff translated into French as well by one of our beautiful clients.
Isn't that awesome when something gets translated? I've had connections with Japanese, and I haven't organised translations of my books, but one of the ladies that I'm connected to has been sharing my information through translation as
Yeah,
well.
yeah, yeah. It's, when I first saw, as we do licensed intellectual property inside my program, and one of the things is this high value brochure. And when I saw it done in French, I just could have cried. It's just amazing. Yeah.
That's awesome. So you mentioned the US. Why
Yeah.
US market?
And it's probably something that I really want to share with Aussies is so the US is a very different market to Australia. Um, and so I find in Australia, I serve mainly women in Australia, and it's great. But what if I look at my Australian market? So I've got lots and lots of bookkeepers struggling terribly, right? Struggling terribly. Now, I'm pretty sure they know that we can help them. They know that we can fix all of their problems. Like literally, I've got one of our latest podcasts is a startup that went to 200,000 in revenue with very high profit within a year, right? This is something bookkeepers don't do. Like this is world record breaking. And so what I notice with Australians, unfortunately, they're very price sensitive. And I think you'll probably understand what I mean. And so they choose not to solve their problem to save $1. And the cost of that is so high. Like the cost is hideous, right? And so ultimately, unfortunately, I'm not able to help more of them because they tend to sit in a place of looking at the cost. So, oh, well, that's, let's say in Australia, my program was going to cost 7,500 for the year, full money back guarantee, right? I've got the ladies who buy go, we're really confused why anyone cares. Like she offers a money back guarantee. So then they're just, the trust is lower in Australia. It's harder to get people to trust you. And, so regardless of how good my product is, selling it here is hard. And I'll be honest, I'm not that interested in hustling my ass off to convince anyone when the evidence is clear. So versus in America, I do find that the women I serve over there, they make decisions quicker, they trust more easily. They are happy to invest the money, and then they go on to, then it snowballs from there. So I would love to encourage Australian women, do your due diligence. I'm about to spend 15,000 US probably today with someone. Before I do that, I'm going to do my due diligence and make sure it all looks good. Do your due diligence, but this getting caught up in the fear of trusting someone. I once had a bad experience, so I'm not going to trust you, and I'm just going to sit in my pain for the next 15 years until I realize it's all too late, because I didn't want to spend $100 a week or $150 a week for a year. And it breaks my heart, and I want to reach through my mirror, grab them by the shoulders and shake them. But I do find in Australia, and they say if you can sell something in Australia, you can sell it anywhere in the world because we're the hardest people to sell to, which is a good and a bad thing, right?
Yeah, I would 100% agree with you. Women particularly are harder because they're always looking, because they don't put themselves first. They are always looking at going, oh no, look, my son's school excursion's going to Paris, and I really want to ensure that he has that experience. I've never been to Paris myself, but I want to make sure that my children do that. And no, invest in my business. Well, that's not really investment, but I'm happy to spend money. I see this all the time with women, that it's the priority. And as I said, like so many of them is, oh no, I've never been there myself, but I'll make sure that the children can go and do. Why? That just it blows my mind away, because other kids are doing it and they'll feel bad if they can't go. Well, that's just life. It's
and cost focused rather than investment focused.
Men are quicker to make decisions. Most of my
Much quicker.
even though everything that I do and promote usually is around women, all my private clients at the moment are men. They'll make a decision. They'll go, I need to do this, and how can I fix the problem? And I'm prepared to invest to do it. And men make a decision much much quicker. 40 years ago when I started really working with women, or 20, I should have maybe directed it at men and gone, well, that's just an easier sell, because you don't have to sell to them. They've got a pain point, they want to fix it, and that's, I agree with you.
Much
with the US
easier.
market, exactly the same. I've got a pain point, I need to fix it. I'll do my due diligence and figure out who I can trust to do that. I agree.
Yes. Yeah, and that's the thing. It's not like, I would never want women to run off and go, oh, that means I should start throwing money at everyone. Because women, we're nurturers, we're trusting creatures, and sometimes it bites us in the ass. Yeah. I also think intuition. So I heard this beautiful speaker say recently, fear is constricted and intuition is not. It's relaxed, right?
Yeah.
And so look, yes, I make decisions like a man, but I turn up like a man in business. I back myself, I'm confident, and I invest in my business. Oftentimes I will spend a lot more knowing that the returns are coming later. Like, our costs at the moment are much higher as a percentage of turnover, but that's okay, because when I double or triple my sales, the cost will remain the same. And so absolutely, like, for example, if you're a bookkeeper and you looked at our program and you went, okay, she's got, like, literally, I'm like, go and chat to my clients. They're right there. Go talk to them. Literally go talk to them. And here's all of our testimonials. And there's a money back guarantee. And on average, we're getting this kind of result, right? That's a no-brainer. Like, why isn't every bookkeeper in Australia running and joining? And that is that. So if you can do your due diligence, and also look at the risk, right? Sometimes I go, okay, I'm going to risk X amount of dollars. Worst case scenario, I lose that. Best case scenario, I break even. Best case scenario, it works out exactly as I want to. So do your due diligence, but to let fear and doubt and indecision and those devils rob you of success.
Yeah, absolutely. And I tend to make decisions like a man. Just so funny. I'm looking. We've got a couple of recliners, and my grandchildren, they were manual ones, and if you don't pull them down evenly, one of them decided that was on its last little recliner session. So I went online, looked up what I wanted, what size fitted, who sold it. It went to the business the other day with the husband come along. He comes along because it's company, not really to help with the decision making on it, because it's not his thing. Decided, and it was delivered yesterday. So it was a matter of, I need this. This is what I want. I'm prepared to buy it and pay for it here, and I want it delivered straight away. And it's the same with, years ago, I spent $50,000 on a year training course with weekly sessions, and it was absolutely brilliant. It took my business to a whole new level, and for me to have a complete different level of understanding of so many different concepts, that I can do things that don't do IT, I don't do websites, but I can go in the back of my website and do certain things. I have knowledge on it, so I can give other people direction even. And it was a brilliant investment. I like other people, I've invested in the wrong things by not doing due diligence, but with this particular training course, I trusted, and it was huge value. Interestingly, though, the coach said that because they turn up weekly, the coach said, out of all the people that he was working with, I was the only one that did their assignments or their homework the week before. I'm thinking, well, it's a $50,000 investment, then I better do it.
Yeah, exactly. Successful entrepreneurs do the things that others don't, and the work that others won't, right?
Absolutely. But that's a good point, though, isn't it, though, Jeannie, is how much are you prepared, again, to commit to it?
Definitely, definitely. My general manager that works with other creators like myself, when we launched and we had incredible results, she said, she's a little brutal like me. She said to all her other clients, I've never seen results like this, but none of you show up like she does either. And it was, and look, I like you, I'm probably the one that does the things that everybody does. But the other thing I just wanted to mention for women is Women, we tend to be Jill of all trades, right? We tend to be much more multi-skilled than men. They're black and white and linear. They can often only do one thing well. My father was like that, right? He built $100 million retail organization. He could only do one thing well. And he says to me, oh, you intelligent Jill of all trades, you get caught up because you can do too many things. Now, what I find with, men, they're like, yep, I'm a plumber, I can do plumbing, but I need other people to do the other stuff. Now, women, oh, well, I've got a little bit of knowledge in all these areas. I can type, I can do all this stuff. So I'm just going to hustle through and do it all myself to try and save $1. You won't win the game without a winning team, number one. That's if you put the best player on a football team against a team of 12-year-old girls, right? The girls are going to win because it's a team. And then the next thing is that when you do that, you fail to acquire intelligence into your business and your life. The only way that you can acquire that intelligence is through team. Now, that might be listening to your podcast. You put Janine on your team, right? You're not always paying everyone even, right? You listen to my podcast. You read Atomic Habits by James Clear. You just put James on your team. But then you go, like we just did. So we just spent a few months hiring someone in South Africa to do a specific, very, curated role. And we bring him in. And when we bring someone in, we're acquiring intelligence for the team, for the business. And that's how we get that result. And then what I do as the leader, and this is if you're an entrepreneur, there's no two ways about it. You need to be the leader, be the visionary, set the direction of that ship. But now I've just spent a month working 7 days, 14 hours, strategy. And now I'm just directing the ship, right? And yeah, women wanting to do everything themselves. And one of the first things my ladies learn is that is not tenable. I can't keep doing that. And when they finally bring on their first team member, which for my ladies is always like a full-time all-rounder that can do everything, they just say, Jeannie, how did I ever survive? How did I cope, right?
Yeah, I 100% agree. I wouldn't be without my VA. And this morning, I'm part of a not-for-profit and we're doing a bit of a membership drive. And so I haven't got any marketing material on this thing. I've got some videos. So I just sent that to her this morning and said, can you have a look at these videos and then put together a marketing flyer for us? Because where we're going to be marketing, we actually need a flyer. And I don't have to do it. I just put the information, sent it to her. And so that saves me half a day of doing something where she's a lot faster at it, and it just makes a whole lot of sense. I agree. I've always had this thing every year of what goal do I want to set this year. So I do a personal goal and a business goal and an overall goal. So the personal goal might be to get my golf handicap down under 20. And then I'll look at that and go, well, where is my shortfall and what do I need to do? Well, it's the fairway shots. So I need to get a coach who can help me with the fairway shots.
Yep.
And part of the business is to get the business one this year was to get, it was last year, to get a lot more traction on my website. So what do I need to do is I hire an SEO expert. And that's what that was the focus for that year is to do that. So that's what I've always done, Jeannie. And that way I know I'm hiring the right people as well to get the results that I want.
You're hiring the intelligence, right? And
Correct.
It can be a coach that is at golf once a week. It can be a full-time employee. It can be an SEO subcontractor. It can be, I'm also going to listen to this mentors podcast because that's amazing. But there's always this, I think, this acquisition of intelligence. And yeah, I've been doing the same thing in my business life. It's like, okay, where do I want to go? Where are we now? And I spend all that time on that strategy, like a month in a rabbit hole. But then it's always about team, and that's why I'm on a call this morning for an hour. Great. I found somebody, a consultant in the US, 15 grand, and they will actually empower my team. So my team will get more intelligence that we will use to grow moving forward. And I see women everywhere, particularly in Australia, completely miss the mark on this.
Yeah. And I yes, totally agree. And one of the topics that we were going to talk on, but we haven't even covered that yet, is people not charging their worth. That's such a big deal, isn't it? And we did talk about juggling things, but also not having the right systems in place. So one thing is to have the team and the knowledge coming in, but if you haven't got the systems, then it's still going to be a bit of a trial to get things done.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, not charging what you're worth and not charging commensurate with a viable business model, right? Like if you're a service-based business, if you're a woman, if you're running a service-based business, your cost of sales has to be 33% or less. And if it's not, fix it. Just raise your prices, right? We're in the way. We're the one in the way. And just for example, bookkeepers are a service-based business, and the statistics there are the same worldwide. So less than 10% of bookkeepers, we have 4 archetypes: startup, struggling, busy, which is a book but broken, and scaling. Less than 10% will ever hit scaling and have a nice 6-figure salary with time off. 90% or more might manage to get to busy, booked but broken, where they would be better off in a job, and they will sit there until it's too late. And it's the same everywhere. And the one thing we start with the busy book, well, with everyone, and I've been there, done that. I've been every archetype. I've made every mistake. I've been booked but broken. The thing, and we're doing a challenge next week, right? The thing that we work on is pricing. 100% pricing, products and pricing. You have to be able to have a value proposition, or nobody's going to pay you what you're worth anyway. So there's an ecosystem, right? But if you will not charge what you need to be charging, don't be in business, because it's the central beating heart, I think,
Oh, definitely. I remember many years ago, I was running a sales workshop, and as you're aware, I work with a lot of people in sales who aren't in sales or don't think they're in sales, just to overcome that negative concept about selling. And one of the ladies was what you call busy books but broken, and she was saying she's just absolutely flat out, so busy. And I said, so how are you charging? She said, I'm charging $25 an hour. And I said, double it. I said, for every new customer that comes on now, double it. She said, oh, how can I do that? I said, double it. Just go from that for you. That was a big deal for her to double that, as you can imagine, someone who'd been charged. And then I saw her about 12 months later, and she said that was the best thing that ever happened to her, because now, she felt like she was at least her worth, and now she charges even more. But it was to get over that hurdle of, and I didn't even say, add $10. It was just straight up double it. And it made such a big difference to her to do that.
Most of our ladies are a doubling, so there's usually about a 40 to 50% shortfall. And we've got one of our girls as a champion in that space now, and so she, just like most of them, they double all their prices, and they lose either 0 clients or hardly any. Again, we give them a value proposition. But oftentimes your clients know you're undercharging. Has that ever happened to you, where I get someone say, oh, I need to charge you, $5 more, and you think it's probably about time, and you're like, okay.
With my VA, she's never put it up for years, and I feel bad about it, but it's not my responsibility to do that at all. It's I do give her a lot of leeway and a lot of it because what she creates is exactly what I want. That's great. So I don't micromanage her at all, and that works well.
Yeah.
But I've had people all the time, and they've done, oh, I'm going to have to put that up. Okay, that's fine.
And yes, and women, we think we need to justify, and I say, our grandmas always had a lot of good advice, and most of our grandmas said, never explain, never complain. So
I didn't quite have that accent, but
never explain, never complain. And I say, so when we put our prices up, I say, well, a good reason to raise your prices is because the wind changed. But basically it's, this is, the other default is just pure honesty. And our bookkeepers go back to their clients and they say, listen, I've been undercharging and I need to rectify that. And it's like, there's nowhere to go from that. And they say, oh, okay. And they say, yes, I'm going to rectify that now. Could you let me know if you have any questions? And they're ready to explain everything. And I said, you don't explain unless you're asked a question. And then you can, but they always still make assumption after assumption. So somebody wants to talk to me about price and that means they want it cheaper. And I said, no, it doesn't. They just want to talk to you. Maybe they want to spend more. I often say to my clients, if you're struggling, I don't need to drop my price on my service. You need to spend more money on me because then I can truly help you, right? So yeah, I think never explain, never complain. You can always just say my rates are going up. And then the other one is just if you are undercharging, blatant honesty, just I've been undercharging. There's no pushback for that.
And it's very hard to argue with that. It's I've said to people in the past, when I've told them that they're undercharging, and I have sort of put a veto on me though. So look, I can make you a lot more money, but just keep mine at the same price that you had it. So
I get that all the time. I've had gardeners where I'm like, listen, I'm not going to be able to cop this charge. It's going to need to go up.
Absolutely.
Because they're a client and I'm like, oh, and same with my hairdresser, and my friend said, Jeannie, stop telling everyone to put their prices up. And then I've got her treatment stacking. So I'm like, okay, while you do my hair, we could probably do a massage. And I think if we get treatment stacking, your cost per client will go up.
Awesome. My hairdresser does not need to put his prices up, but I love it.
Mine definitely did.
That's why I go to him. Jeannie, we've had a great conversation, and I know we've talked about some takeaways that you had sent to me originally, but I think there's some other takeaways here that we need to have people who are listening really remember and take home. What do you want them to remember?
Put yourself first, 100%. Put yourself first. And added, like, the second one from that is treat yourself, like, celebrate and love yourself like you celebrate and love your children. I said to someone recently who, like, a lot of people around the world have suffered some form of abuse, right? And when they think about, for example, approaching the person or the organization, etc., they're all like, I don't know if I should. And I said to someone, somebody's walked in and attacked and abused your child. What are you going to do? They said, kill them. I said, but you're not willing to fight for yourself. That's interesting. So put yourself first, love and celebrate yourself the same way, unapologetically, that you love and celebrate others. And anyone who doesn't like it, cut them out of your life. They are not for you. Yeah. And so I think those two definitely. And number 3, raise your prices and be honest about it.
Most definitely. And that's, look, a whole nother topic that we could cover as well, is when you start owning that level of confidence and putting yourself first, there may be people in your life that move on, which is important.
Or they level up, they say, wow. My friends all kind of said, wow, like, I wish I could love and celebrate myself like you do. And then they lift, all my friends say, I just want to come. It's like a wellness retreat when I stay with you, right? A mind retreat. And so they all walk away and they celebrate themselves. And like these days with my Latino partner, if someone says, I like that shirt, and he says, oh, I know, isn't it amazing? I look great in it. I'm like, yes.
And that's the thing, is don't apologize for things and don't, this old thing, I've had it for years. No, I love it. Thank you very much.
Yeah, no deflecting a compliment. No.
Yeah, definitely. How can people get in touch with you?
Yeah, so look, hello at the strategicbookkeeper.global. Always feel free to email me. My team intercepts everything, but I do try and get to everything. Otherwise, I'm actually a really big Facebook girl. So finding me Jeannie Savage or the Strategic Bookkeeper. And then you can always email and ask me to connect with you on our socials. Janine needs to help me with LinkedIn. I'm totally linked out. My team has to manage it.
I've got a couple of short courses coming up, half-day courses coming up, Jeannie.
Yeah, we need Demi should get, because we're putting Demi through as much education as she can handle with a baby on the breast. It's beautiful.
I know. I spoke to her. I'll send it through because it might be good even because I only run with 3 people, and it's good for the whole team, and because the ideas will flow really well with the.
Yeah, because Demi loves LinkedIn. So, and she took it upon herself to do some training recently, and I was so excited. And honestly, Demi is just my world. My whole team is amazing. But you know, sometimes you just look at the way someone's showing up and you're like, wow.
She's awesome. So thank you very much. And when you go and check out, you can find Jeannie's books as well. And that's a good way to start to add to your team.
Yeah. Just Google me.
Definitely. And all of the links are in the show notes. So that's another episode of We Are Women podcast. I would love for you to visit my website, JanineVosper.com, book a strategy call with me, and we can have a conversation. And I guarantee what pain points you might have at the moment, I can either help you with, or I have the most amazing bank of incredible women who I can highly recommend that might be able to solve your problems. So please take that step, look after yourself, put yourself first, and let's hopefully that you can build the most successful life and business of your choice. Look forward to you joining me on the next episode of the We Are Women podcast. Bye-bye for now.
So, do you feel stuck in a rut in business? Visit speechperfect.com.au and download Janine's free ebook to avoid the 5 most common stumbling blocks women face in business. It's jam-packed full of tips to overcome the barriers that could be holding you back from the success that you dream your business will be. We would love you to leave a review of today's episode and share this podcast with other women in need of entrepreneurial inspiration. Subscribe to the next episode now and join the We Are Women community.